Hey guys, what's going on? I think we're live. This is the first time I've been live in a while. So, man, I am planning on being a little rusty tonight. So, but hopefully you guys are doing well. And let's see here. It looks like my screen is like all redded out here. I'm waiting for Chris Whetzel to join me. I can see him down in the waiting room. But Chris, let me get this fixed right before I bring you into this disaster. Let's see. Looks like several people are already joining in, so that's exciting. Let's see, Chris, I'm going to add you to the stream. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Hey, just got home
I
from
feel like
work.
I got red face happening here. Do I?
You're yeah, a little bit, but you just got back from the beach, so it's acceptable.
I mean, I am tan.
You are.
That is great, man. Well, let me check over here at comments and see who we've got joining in. So let's see. RJ is on. We are live. Rose, hey, how's it going? Glad to be back from vacation. Can't wait to see you. Eric, what's up? No redneck. Yeah, no, I don't think I have a red. Yeah, I do. Dang.
Yeah, you do.
And I just said dang. So, Chris, where are you at tonight?
I'm on the deck.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah, man.
Yeah,
So I forgot you guys have a pool back there. You have a pool?
we do.
Yeah.
We call it the watering hole here in West Virginia. So
The watering hole. That's great. Crystal, how's it going? Yeah, Crystal, I don't know what's happening here. My camera's a little messed up right now, and it's just going to take so much to try to get that fixed. Let me just see what happens if I do this setting. Oh, no, we don't want that. So that's a little better. Yeah, we'll just go with that. Chris, we're going to wait a few minutes for people to jump on. More people jump on. Hey, Mary, when you guys come in tonight, please take a moment to tell us your name. Where are you guys at tonight? How are you feeling? How's life? Watching from the Outer Banks. Hey, Jimmy. Chris, that's one of your guys. What happened? I lost Chris. So let's wait for him to jump back on. Don't know why we lost Chris. Lost you. Karen, hey, there's my older brother. Karen, we're trying to get Chris back. I don't know what happened to him. He was on the deck at his house, and then he just vanished. Oh, there he is. Okay, let's bring him back in. Add to stream. Hey, man.
What happened?
I thought maybe there were too many glitches for you, and you were just
No, I'm not diva. Actually, I had to pick my nose, so I went offline.
Well, you can actually just turn the camera away, man. You can do anything you want. You just turn the camera away. Oh, man. Well,
Did you say Jimmy? Did you say Jimmy was on?
Yeah, Jimmy's on. He's from the Outer. He's out at the Outer Banks right now. So
Jimmy's like one of my favorite people in the world, man.
Yeah, he is a great guy. I love Jimmy. RJ, are you back in town? Crystal, sitting on the front porch eating a chicken and strawberry salad. She's eating a chicken and a strawberry salad.
Nice.
I'm just playing. Let's see here. Michael Farish. Hey, Mike, where are you at in this beautiful world? You know, Mike, he's our media guy. Did you get a chance to meet him?
Super pyrotechnician too, man.
Oh yeah. Did you get to talk to him a little bit? He's a pyrotech, and he travels all over the nation putting off great fireworks displays. He's done it for us, all these years here in our community. But he gets to travel to exotic locations. He's probably in Fiji right now, putting up 5G. He's part of the conspiracy. So 5G has created the whole entire thing that's happening in the world right now. COVID, I mean, you name it. Anything bad happening in the world right now, 5G. Mike, he is the guy behind it all, and he's on I-64. I'm just playing with you, Mike. Let's see here. Okay, so it looks like there's quite a few people on right now. I mean, Chris, we've got 43 connections. Let's jump into our conversation. Just want to say to everybody who's joining on right now, just take a second and hit the share button. Share this out. We found out in our church that every time somebody shares, 2.3 more viewers jump on. So whatever that means, plus however many people are gathered around the cameras. So that's a pretty big deal. So if you want to invite 2.3 of your friends right now, share it. And hopefully they'll come on. I see that Eric Clark is on there. Real nice cross-section of people. There's quite a few people on here. It means that a lot of people haven't said hello yet. So please take a moment, as it says on the screen here, type in hello, and I don't know, describe your mood, describe your day. Anita, she is one of my aunts. She's down in Florida. Just an amazing woman throughout the years in my life, and I'm glad that she's jumping on here. So hello, Anita, down in Florida. And I have with me tonight Chris Whetzel. He's becoming very well known. He's the most popular guy in Augusta County right now after the last 3 weeks of speaking here. I went on vacation, and this guy's been preaching at our church for the last 3 weeks in a row. You know, it's Wednesday, Chris, and you know me, man. A lot of times I jump on and do things like the last minute. And I don't know, around mid-morning, I said to my wife, I miss my church. I don't know if I can wait until this Sunday. So I want to jump on and talk about something. And I was going to do, one of the devotionals that I shared on vacation. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to bring Chris on here. Let's chat about what happened at Destiny Family Center. And before we do that, I do want to say a lot of people have been texting me and asking me, we had to get COVID tested on Sunday. Somebody who was sharing vacation with us was also sharing vacation with some other relatives at another house who ended up testing positive for COVID after she got home. So it was like this, the degree of separations. We were one degree. We intersected with somebody who intersected with somebody who had COVID. So our test results have come back and we are COVID free. Although I will say, Chris, part of me was really excited. I was like, man, let's get this, man. Let's get it done, get it over with. And then it's kind of like in NASCAR, I wanted to take my pit stop now. I wanted to put 4 new tires on and myself up for the end of the race. Everybody else going to have to come in late, but not me, man. I'm just going to cruise right through the fall. But I couldn't get it. No matter how hard I tried, I could not get COVID. So now we just have to make sure that Emily's niece doesn't have it. As soon as she's cleared, then we're out of quarantine, and then we can be with people again. So that's my story. I'm back in town. Chris, how was it for you in my absence, man? What'd you think of the church, and what'd you think of Stuart's draft? And
well, I mean, you guys have a Cracker Barrel there, so
that's right.
I mean, it's a no-brainer. When I got the invite to speak, it's like, really, It's a no-brainer. So, but no, hey, I mean, I had a really good time. Your folks are top-notch. Felt at home. Felt like it was kind of a family reunion, really, because it's been a while since I spoke there. But I mean, in your absence, I mean, I know you are, but I mean, you should be really proud of your team. They were great. Rose and Jesse and Ian and my goodness, the sound team and all that, and tech. It was great. I mean, it was a great experience for us. Great experience for my family too. So,
I don't want to speak with any kind of false humility here, but Chris, you're one of the greatest leaders I've ever known, and when it comes to, I've been successful in a lot of things in life. Church leadership has been a challenge for me. I mean, I can't believe I'm still pastoring 18 years in this community. And I'll just say, I just want to give all the credit back to the church because, I've always been amazed. We've always had tremendous worship. We've always had, there's been a lot of times where we weren't deep with volunteers, like a huge volunteer team, like say that you guys have had over the years, and some other pastor friends, you guys have got a stellar pipelines, and you guys are maybe doing a little bit better than we are at bringing in a culture of leadership, culture of volunteers. But I as a pastor have always been blessed with people who are willing to lay their lives down, and with very little oversight. And this season is no different. We have some people that are just unbelievable. I mean, they can just make things happen. And I'm glad that you enjoyed working with our team. It means a lot coming from a guy. I mean, talk about the ultimate secret shopper, come in here.
No, it's great. But see, I mean, one thing I think you've done so well over the years is that, I mean, you do a good job in empowering everyone around you. Like, you give people a chance to lead. You know, your delegations, like, I mean, it's par excellence. That's one of the things that, I mean, I didn't do so well over a 20-year. I just wanted to get my hands in too much stuff and run with, you know, and try to do it all. And but you've always done well, and so that's the fruit of that. When you do that, then you empower other people, and leaders are creating leaders and all that. So
yeah, man. What T-shirt you wearing there, man? Are you're in car sales now?
Yeah, I haven't changed clothes. Let me see if I can get it.
Yeah,
it's kind of backwards. I got it. Weimer Automotive Group. I'm in the Chevy Buick GMC division in Moorfield. And you know, I just got home from work. It was late evening. I had some sales go out the door today, and great company, man. I can't say enough good about these people. Dave Weimer is the owner, and his sons also are owners, and Tyler Weimer is the guy that's plugged in at our store, oversees our division, and these guys are great. They have gave me an opportunity to come in. I mean, I knew nothing about the auto business, and these guys just threw me in and let me really go, and gave me the tools I needed to be successful. And just celebrated last month. It was my 6th month there, and I just celebrated over 100 sales in 6 months. Yeah. So, but I mean, that goes back though to, you know, our owner Tyler, and DA Arball was my manager, and it's just those guys empowering me and just doing it. Let me be what I can be there. So no, I can't say enough about Dave Weimer. Does so much good in the communities. His sons, all the communities that our dealerships are located in. There's a lot of charitable work done, a lot of support at schools and athletics.
That's amazing.
And great crew.
Yeah, you know, when you stepped down from pastoring, I guess it was like what, November of last year. Yeah. And you told me that that you were probably going to be going with that group and selling cars. I thought to myself, my God, you'll probably find a way to sell more cars in Moorfield than anywhere in the nation per capita. I could see you. That's the kind of guy you are. You've got that. It's like when God spoke to Abraham, he said, I'm going to make you the father of many nations. He put something on his life that, you know, and he said, you know, whoever blesses you, I'll bless, and whoever curses you, I'll curse. Yeah. And there's that favor that God has placed on your life, and it doesn't matter what you do. There's a blessing on your life, and I'm glad to see you. You know, are there every once in a while do you sell a particular vehicle that makes you drool on the ground?
Yeah, like so the other day we had this GMC. It was a 2500 AT4 package, and I got in it, and I was just really thinking to myself, how many cars do I need to sell before I can get like, or maybe I can sell so many that I don't know. But yeah, I do, and that's been probably my favorite vehicle so far. And let me just throw in a shameless plug here, because I am a salesman, and anybody looking for a vehicle, hit me up. Boom.
Man, absolutely. I mean, people should drive from California. If you're on here from California, you should fly in, pick up your truck from Chris, drive that thing home, get to know it.
Yeah, let us meet you halfway. I've delivered 3 now to Atlanta, Georgia.
Have you really?
And in the Carolinas, we sent a guy to Cincinnati here last week. Best buying experience. You won't get a better buying experience anywhere. So we deliver 2 places. Mm-hmm. I had a 9-year-old man buy a new car from it's an area called Weston, and we took it to him free of charge, delivered it right to his driveway. So
heck yeah, man. That's amazing. You know, one sales tip I have for you. Okay. So if you guys were to partner with O'Neill's and give away a free butterscotch pie with each purchase.
Yeah.
Next level.
Boom. That is next level. We give O'Neill's a lot of business. We eat there a lot. So yeah, maybe we could partner up.
You know,
see if Mr. Weimer
pies.
Yeah. See if Mr. Weimer to partner with O'Neill's. I think we can make that happen.
I think so, man. You know, I always loved the story about O'Neill's. It was like the old lady who, what is she, like in her 90s, or she's still alive?
Yeah, I don't think she's that old. I think you probably just offended somebody, but.
Whoa! For some reason, I didn't meet her. So this isn't like a guess. for some reason, the rumor was, the fairy tale story was that the hierarchy, the highest matriarch of the company, had all the recipes.
And it's all homemade.
The race is on to get those recipes downloaded into the next generation, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it happened because Jamie now is doing a lot of desserts, and it's still top-notch quality. So you just need to come to Moorfield. Come to Moorfield, buy a couple cars, and I'll get you a pie.
Okay, buddy, I'll take you up on that. So Chris, you've been speaking while you were in our church for 3 straight weeks. You spoke on the topic reset.
Yeah,
and man, what a great topic. I mean, people. I was just in LA a few weeks ago, and it was like the opening episode of The Walking Dead. I don't know if you ever watched that, but there are cars just lined all over the freeway, just where they've been pulled over, and just zombies have broken through the windows and eaten all the people. And I felt like that when I got into LA and realized how seriously devastated the country is. In Virginia, where I am, you saw it. It hasn't. We have gotten off, like, I would say we're one of the best areas in the whole nation to live right now when it comes to COVID. I don't know what it's like there for you in Moorfield, but we've been very sheltered. There are some places in the country that are really hurting right now, and people thought the country was going to be fully operational in June, and now it's like they're setting back again. And the idea of resetting, people are frustrated. They're lashing out with anger. People are depressed. They're discouraged, hopeless. And we've got to lift people up right now and help them to get started again, right? So tell us.
Well, no, that's why reset really resonated. I spoke that message, that topic, beginning of 2019, and just the time period that we were in now, that really came back to mind. So kind of revamped some things, and I just thought, for the time period that we're in, it was the appropriate message to go through, because my goodness, who is not probably in need of a reset right now? So
hey, if you're on this call right now and you need some kind of reset in your life, just write that word in the comments. Reset. And Chris and I can just kind of in our head while we're talking here, we just pray for you and just ask God to touch your life. I'm on here on this Wednesday night, and everybody was saying it's hump day. It's hump day. It's the middle of the week, right? And I was thinking to myself, we probably should be having more services. We should be speaking more in COVID than we were prior to COVID. I think people need to hear. They need to have spiritual conversations more frequently, don't you, Chris?
Oh yeah, absolutely. My goodness, especially during this time that we're in, because there's just a lot of apprehension. There's just, a lot of people are in a state where, and I would say probably all of us, where the future can really be uncertain, and that causes anxiety big time, whether you're a business leader, church leader, or whatever.
Yeah, I was thinking today about that famous scripture in Isaiah where, Isaiah saying, I'm sure, I don't know if you quoted it in the series. I tried to catch all the messages, but I admit that I was kind of like, surfing and watching at the same time. And, but where Isaiah says, they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not grow weary. They shall walk and not faint. And, I remember studying eagles years ago. By the way, there's only been 3 times I saw an eagle. Once was in the Grand Canyon with my son. Another time was in Bethpage, Missouri, when I was speaking at a giant revival out there. And then another time when I was kayaking with my little cousin Jake and Corey. Remember when you dropped us off that day and we kayaked? What river was that there in Moorfield?
South Branch of the Potomac.
South Branch. We saw an eagle that day up in the rocks, way up in the rocks to our left, and we were floating down the South Branch. And eagles are amazing creatures, and a lot of churches have used eagles over the years to speak some really powerful messages. And the big message with the eagle is how an eagle can reset. The eagles are masters of renewal. And Isaiah said that they that wait upon the Lord are like that, so we're masters of renewal, of resetting, of refreshing ourselves. I just think that, I have a Mac computer now, but when I used to have Windows computers, those things were famous for Windows systems. And don't get mad at me if, you're a Windows person out there, but famous for just getting to the point where you have to turn them off and turn them back on. They get to the point where they won't work. They get so slow. And I think that people get all these windows open and they just start running slower and slower and slower and slower.
Absolutely.
And we have to find a way to reset. So give us some of the principles that you were sharing. You did an acronym for the letters of the word, right?
Yeah. So, we started off with the R. We talked about release. And in that topic, I talked more about there are things that we like to cling to. And sometimes it's destructive things. I mean, toxic things.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get hurt, sometimes you can hold on to bitterness or, hatred or whatever. And so I thought it would be good to open up and talk about release. There are things that we know that we're probably holding on to that we just have to let go because it's toxic. I mean, we talked about how if you carry yesterday's death, you'll contaminate your present life. And
Wow.
and just I thought it was important to start there.
Talk about that for a second. If you carry yesterday's death, how'd you say that? You'll contaminate
your present life. Yeah, because I mean, and I use the analogy about the Romans. They were always back in Bible days looking for cruel ways to execute people, and so through the years, the story's been passed down about how if a murderer was caught, they would take the corpse and basically tie it to the offender, and then had the offender walk around with that. And then as they would do that, that death of what they were carrying began to infect them. Now, they didn't have to be sick. They could be really well people, but if they carried that death long enough, the death they were carrying would contaminate them and take a perfectly healthy person, and by carrying death, would contaminate their healthy life. And so we talked about, if you're holding on to, things that are toxic, sooner or later you have to let it go. No matter whether you're in the right, wrong, whatever, you have to let it go because yesterday's death will contaminate.
So you're saying you have to let it go.
I was hoping you wouldn't do that.
No, honestly, there's no way you hate that song more than I do. When I hear it, I almost wreck my vehicle. If somebody sings it, says it, yeah, it's just
should
bad.
Be a law against it. I think it should be punishable with 30 days in prison or something.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. So
and then I moved from release, and we went to the E in reset, and we talked about empty. And I know when I first announced, hey, here's what we're talking about, here's this letter, or here's this word rather, that people were like, well, that's the same thing. But the difference that I wanted to bring out was with release, there are things you're holding on to that you have to let go. But with empty, it was a little bit different because I wanted to talk about how, you can go through life and without even meaning to, totally unaware, life can add weight to you. I mean, these days, if you sit down and watch the news very long, you'll get up from watching the news and you'll be so afraid for the future of your children. And without even realizing it, life adds a weight. I mean, it's just, I went through topic after topic. There are people watching this that I know that's been through bad circumstances. So let's say you go through something traumatic, or you were hurt, you were wounded, and you survive it. You came out, went through some hell, but you made it. Clothes singed, smell like smoke, but hey, you made it out. But then one day you wake up and you realize, wait a minute, I made it out, but I just don't trust anyone anymore. Or maybe you went through something really toxic and now you survived it and you made it out. Maybe you were hurt in a past relationship and you made it, but now every relationship that you go into it with such walls built up because you just don't trust anyone. And it's self-preservation. And so when we talked about empty, I really wanted to bring out the point of, just the things that life adds to you without you even realizing it. Those are the things you have to empty out of your life.
I was just thinking about spring cleaning, right? And, if you look at the spiritual and physical connection with that, we never got to have yard sales this year. I mean, you think about it, COVID came and we never got to have yard sales. And not that I love yard sales, but man, my family loves yard sales, and a lot of my friends love yard sales. And the whole idea of the yard sale is you can't just keep accumulating things, right? And I heard that message. I heard all three of these messages, but I was loving that point, Chris, because we have to make room for the new thing that God wants to do in our lives. And if we're carrying around the thoughts, pain, like you said, bitterness, people need to be quick to reset, quick to let go of things, and quick to make room. Right now I need to do some spring cleaning. I've gotten a bunch of new clothes recently. Went to the post office today, and the lady in there said, I think your family gets more packages than anybody else in this community. They actually gave me the post office crate to carry out, our stuff. And I'm like, this is a problem, man. Like, we need counseling for this, COVID shopping. Well, the thing is, I've got to go through my dressers and I've got to make room because, you just keep stuffing thing in there and closing it. It's a miserable way to live when you get a bunch of new stuff and you don't get rid of the old stuff,
Yeah. One of the things that we talked about as well is empty sometimes can have a negative connotation to it. Like, people will say, I don't want to be empty. And so, but empty, another way to look at empty is having a capacity to receive. And so if you look at it that way, you can only receive so much.
Wow.
And again, I mean, the computer analogy, there's just sometimes you got to shut it down. You got to defragment, you got to make some room, whatever, however you want to say it. But, when you talk about emptying yourself, what you're doing is you're creating a capacity to receive again. We talked about, the story of the widow woman and who went to the prophet, basically said, hey, my husband's dead. They're going to come take my sons to work off the debt. And he said, what do you have in your house? He said, nothing but oil. He said, that'll do. Now go borrow empty containers. So basically what he was saying was, you have the answer in your house, but what you don't have is the capacity to receive what you need to receive. So she had to create some capacity to receive. So
yeah, that's a great thought right there. I remember Jason Upton came and did a concert in our church years ago, and he had just released that album, Open Up the Earth. And his whole idea was he felt like God had spoken to him and just said, the heavens are not closed. All of my blessings are just pouring down on the earth that are available. He said, it's the restriction is on the receiving side, on the receiving end. And, it's emptying ourselves also with that faith, like you're talking about. Like, that's what God's saying to me right now. When you're talking, I'm thinking to myself, man, it is exciting. Like, I want to kind of have my hands in a funnel and just going, whatever you have new for my life, I want to make room for it. And I want to make room for a new mindset, for new ideas, for richer relationships. And we've got to shed off the trauma that we've just gone through. And for some people, it goes way past COVID. But for everyone, we've got COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, one of the points in that story out of, 2 Kings is the problem wasn't in the absence of oil. The problem was there was no capacity to receive. So, and it's the same way today. I mean, if you look at it spiritually, I mean, do we think we got to talk God into getting up and creating something? I mean, the problem is never absence of oil.
Amazing.
The problem is, do we have capacity to receive? So,
that's like devotion time. I've had a lot of people tell me over the years, Chris, I bet you have too. I will say the most successful people, spiritually speaking, I've ever met in my life there's no way around it. They have a stellar routine of having devotions with God daily, 7 days a week, not just on Sunday at church. Every day they meet with God. People go, my God, how do you do that? How do you do that for 30 minutes or an hour or more every day? Don't you get completely bored after a while? Well, I mean, I don't get bored with spending an hour with my wife every day. It's developing that relationship. But I think the key is there are some days when there's not a lot happening in my devotions. I'm reading, no big light bulbs going off. I'm going through that. But what I am doing, Chris, is exactly what we're talking about. I'm creating an empty container that devotion where God can actually move in my life. That's so good, man. Wow.
Yeah. So then we moved on, and the S, I wanted to talk about scars, because I mean, if you're in need of a reset, chances are, I mean, you've been wounded, you've been hurt. Who hasn't, right? And so I wanted to talk about scars because, everyone, I mean, we go through life and we get nicks and cuts and all that, spiritually, whatever, emotionally, even physically. And there are things that heal up and you just never know it happened. You forget it even happened. Yeah. But if you get cut deep enough, if you get wounded deep enough, then there's going to be, after the healing takes place, there will be a scar there. I mean, I have them all over. I think I'm up to 44 stitches in my left hand alone.
Are you serious?
Mishaps.
Is that from hooking yourself?
Huh?
Is that from hooking yourself with those big musky hooks?
No. I'm terrible with a knife sometimes. And like salt into my head.
Just a little bit further, and you can go ahead and get a hook and be like a pirate.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, okay, all right.
No, but so I mean, if you get cut deep enough, I mean, you're going to have a scar. And one of the things that I wanted to bring out was, how do you look at your scars? Because how you look at them will have a lot to do with what you do with your scars. And so, and then we talked about how the example of Jesus was that, and it's always amazed me that he gets up from the dead after 3 days. I mean, the Bible clearly says that, his beard was tore out, his hair from the crown of thorns, blood. I know. Blood had drained from his body on the cross. And so for him to be alive again, that means that all the blood had to come back. And basically, God put him back together again. And it always amazed me how after all that, he left the scars. But we find that, he showed his scars. And the Bible says that the disciples had hope when they saw his scars. And then, the point basically after that is that Jesus used his place of greatest pain as a source of greatest power. I mean, if you think about it, that hill that stood outside of Jerusalem, 3 crosses dotted the side of that hill, the man that hung on that middle cross was going through agony, the likes of which none of us will ever understand. It was great pain, but it was at the cross that a place of great power came. And so, God can take your place of greatest pain and use it for great power. And one of the things that I really wanted to bring across with scars is that as we show them, as we're not afraid to say, look, this was a place that, yes, I was wounded, but I'm healed. It healed over. Scars are not wounds anymore. And so if you understand that, you start helping people, then you realize there is someone out there that is hurting, that is hurt right now from something that I'm healed from. And if you learn to show your scars, it gives people hope that, hey, you know what? I can make it. I can be healed of this. Anytime you see cancer walks, I'm always so inspired by the survivor walks that they have in our community. And people that have survived cancer will do that walk. And there are people that are actively going to treatments or they're experiencing it, and they can look at those survivors and it gives them hope that, hey, they survived it, and so I can survive it. And so that's why I really wanted to talk about scars during that series.
I thought I wrote about this in like chapter 15 or 16 of my book. I talked about the darkest season of my life. And I had lost relatives in my life, but I went through a betrayal about maybe 11 years ago or so. And it was so painful. It was, I guess because of all the deaths I had in my life, there was hope attached to it. Your loved one's in a better place and you're going to see them again kind of thing. But when you go through betrayal, it is, there's no hope in it sometimes. When you're wounded like that, there's just no hope at all, right? And, I started saying to everyone, never be a pastor. Started kind of saying that to my kids, right? Like, I don't want a single person I know to be a pastor because it's the worst thing I've ever done in my life. And I went through a season where that's what I said. That was my story because I was wounded. And I don't know, several years in, God spoke to me and said, if you don't heal, you're going to uninspire. You're going to turn away the next generation of pastors that you're supposed to inspire.
Yeah.
And I had to heal. And, it's like Joseph when his brothers finally come after all that betrayal and he's able to say to them, brothers, it's okay, man. God somehow worked in all this, and it was actually, believe it or not, it was a good thing. It's like it's going to save the whole nation. What he was saying was, Chris, to your thing, I was wounded, but look, here's a scar because I'm healed. I love that. So many people need to scar up and heal from their wounds.
When you said that about next generation, that brought back, when I started this series, I did a rather long intro to it, but I thought it was important to take the Bible and go through just, famous men that had went through reset periods. And the next generation got me thinking about Elijah, who, my goodness, he defeats all those false prophets at Mount Carmel. He prophesies drought. He prophesies rain. He pulls up his robe and outruns a chariot in a downpour for 17 miles. And then the voice of Jezebel puts him into a cave, and now he's hiding. He wants to die. Yeah. And God walks him to the mouth of the cave, has a reset moment with him, attitude adjustment, however you want to say it. And here's the thing that's so powerful about that. Elijah needed to have that reset moment, because down in the valley, there was this guy by the name of Elisha that's plowing in a field. He's following oxen. He's getting drug around a field by dumb things. And if Elijah, the first generation, doesn't have a reset, then Elisha keeps getting drug around the field by dumb things. Wow. And the mantle doesn't get laid on his shoulder. So I think for me, and this is me right now, here's where I'm at, this season of life for me, is that, it's not all about us, honey boo boo. I mean, it's like, okay, I gotta wipe the dust off. You got to keep moving forward, because there's an Elisha somewhere in our futures that need to have the mantle passed. And if you look at it, the second generation did more miracles than the first, actually double. So it goes to show you the importance of moving forward and keep moving forward and doing that and getting your reset moment, because there's a lot riding on it.
And look at Elijah, man. If he would have stopped right there, the biggest things that were going to happen in his ministry were ahead, not behind. I mean, exactly. Every prophet longs to pour oil on a king's head, and raise up another prophet. And he was called to go anoint two kings and a prophet. The hallmark moments of his life were still ahead. And, you look at David when he was, at Ziklag, it's over. I'm done, And he had to encourage himself, and he had to get up and go on. And that's such a message for everyone. So you're at the S, and you're talking about scars. We need to heal from those wounds so that we can go forward with a testimony and with an attitude. Somebody, people say you can't fix your past. You can't change your past. I disagree with that.
Right.
Because your past is a series of memories, right? It's logged into your mind. You can't go back to your past, but you can travel to your past by thought into the memories. And how you see your past is going to predict so much about what's going to happen in your future. A lot of people have to go back and they have to look at things differently. They have to, like Joseph, they need to have that moment where they look back and go, wait a minute. I'm going to tell the story differently, and I'm going to point to the scar, and I'm going to say, this is what God did, man. That's so good. So what do we got? Two more letters. E and T. What are these?
Well, then we talked about engage, and I like this one because, 20 years of church leadership in a full-time role, going, from just a few people to hundreds of people. I've really noticed in 20 years, and I've been in the church all my life, born and raised in the church. I've noticed it seems like we have become more and more and more inward focused. It's like the whole mission of the New Testament church in the early days wasn't about, hey, what can be done for us? It was all about, how do we bless the community? How do we help people? How do we lift people up? And it seems like we've become so inward focused. And I talked about, kind of the analogy of a football team, and you have a huddle, and, you break the huddle and then you make a play. Huddles are no good if there's not a play made afterwards. I mean, can you imagine your favorite football team getting in a huddle, on two, ready, break, and then they go sit on the sideline? We would all say, what is going on? And so, and it seems like in our churches, we huddle up. Now, let me bring balance to this. Nothing wrong with the huddle. The huddle's good. Correction, instruction, encouragement. The huddle's good. But if you don't leave the huddle and make a play, And it seems like we've become so inward focused, and it's almost like we're professional huddlers these days. It's like everybody puts all the concentration on the huddle, but huddles are no good if we don't make plays afterwards. This
man, we're getting penalized. Delay of game, man.
Oh, bad. Really bad. The whole concept of Christianity was never that inward focus. It was always outward focus. And it just seems like we've really come a long way from that. And, that's where I wanted to squeeze in love. And I was so invested in the message that I wore that Virginia's for Lovers shirt. And, it got me right here, man, but I did. And I took 5 showers when I got home after I wore that shirt. No, just and
hey, maybe the next time you're here, you can preach in a Patriots jersey.
Oh, Chuck,
you never know, man.
That hurts me that you would even consider that. But at any rate, so I really want to talk about love because, at the end of the day, we serve a God that is described as not loving, but being love.
Yeah, God.
And He is love. And so, love covers a multitude of sins. And I'll tell you, in the climate that we're in now, nationally, the church has got a pretty bad name when it comes to being compassionate and loving. Honestly, we're seen more as critical, condescending, condemning. And I'm not saying that's always accurate because people will just throw stones, but I think that we could do better at being loving. I've just, my years in leadership full time with the church, my focus was always, what can we do for the community? I always want to do something strong for the community. When we put our hand out, I always taught, if you put your hand out, let there be something in it for your community. And it all comes back to love. I talked about the girl that's drawing a picture at a kitchen table and her mom's cooking dinner, and she says, honey, what are you drawing? And the little girl said, I'm drawing God. And the mom says, well, honey, no one knows what God looks like. And the little girl, without missing a beat, says, they will now. And so I really believe we could show the world. I think the world is crying out, what's God look like? And I think in this day and age that we're living in, we could really show them a good picture. What does God look like? Well, I believe, this is me, I believe God looks like people bringing people groceries. I think God looks like people helping the homeless. One of your good friends, Matthew Barnett, is doing this better than anybody I know in the nation right now. And he's showing the love of Christ by what he does. So that we were talking about engage, break the huddle, go out and do something. Honestly, if I'm leading a church right now, I would be all about what are we doing right now in this pandemic? What are we doing for our community? That would be my main concentration. I think the church needs to be well known in the community. I think that it needs to be seen as people that are giving and loving. Max Lucado said our greatest apologetic is compassion. How do you argue with being nice? So that's what we talked about with engage. And then you ready to move on to the next one?
Well, yeah, I think there's a scripture in 1 John that says that when we love one another, that the full expression of God is revealed. And the full expression is not seen through the best sermon ever preached. I think you even said it whenever you were preaching. It truly is, man. Like people are making a determination about God. They're getting their doctrine and their theology from the way we live, and that's a scary thing. I think that's why the Bible says that you'd be better off to tie a stone around your neck and jump into a lake than to lead one of these little ones astray. Absolutely. And I think we do have the greatest opportunity in our lifetime to show the world what God looks like. I love that story of the kid and the picture of God, and that's going to stick with me. So, yeah, man. So reset. The final letter, T. What was that?
Yeah, I just wanted to end the series with talking about the trophy. What are you running for? And I really thought about this week myself, and it works in business as well as it does like a spiritual application too. It's just like keeping the main thing the main thing. Every once in a while, businesses have to reset, and you have to come back to your core values of who you are as a business, and just sticking to that, because a lot of times, sticking to those core values will get you through rough spots, and holding fast to the things that you committed to. Every once in a while, man, you hear these rumors about like McDonald's going to take the Big Mac off the menu. give me a break, man. Come on, that's the main thing.
Hey, I had a Big Mac yesterday, man. Emily and I had a Mac attack. We both went and got Big Macs.
KFC original recipe. I mean, come on. I mean, it's keeping the main thing the main thing. And as far as the spiritual application, with Christianity, is just knowing that, hey, at the end of the day, you can acquire all the wealth you want to. You can have influence over basically masses of people. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's just about making heaven our home. One of the things we say in the church a lot is, well done, thou good and faithful servant. I think, just getting back to running for those words once again. And when you get your focus back because I'm so guilty of it for years, it's like there's so much distraction that can happen in life. And man, you get hung up by it. You get distracted by a lot of things. Here's where I'm at in life right now. Like for me, coming home to my gorgeous wife, drop dead, beautiful, loving, amazing woman that I'm married to, having our kids close to us, and just getting back to, hey, we're together, we have family, and being content in that. The last time I was on with you, we talked about contentment. That's really been in my spirit a lot. Is just learning to be content with the things that we have. So, we talked about trophy and, what are we running for? And that's just how I wanted to bring the message full circle. And I think that resonated with people too. I got some comments off that of just kind of, just the whole reset. What are we running for? And keeping the main thing the main thing.
I meant to say, do not grow weary in doing well. Yeah, it is important that we do focus on that trophy. What is it all for? It is really wild that, when life is over, we're gonna stand before our Maker. We're gonna give an account for our whole life. And I think when you're younger, that reality of that just doesn't set in. You try to get that reality, but
I'm not sure you can. I mean, I think you got to live for a while to get that, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You straight up do, man. And it's, mortality, being faced with your own mortality is what really, that's why you see older folks more serious about living for the next world versus this one. Yeah. When we're younger, it's easier for us to be vain, and the older you get and the more you're faced with your own mortality, you start to think, well, it's like an old story. Somebody says, hey man, what are your dreams? Oh man, one of these days I'm going to go to a great college. And then what? Well, and after that great college, I'm gonna launch a company. Okay, then what? Well, that company's gonna grow. We're gonna have a C corporation, and we're gonna trade on this stock exchange. We're gonna build a Fortune 500 company, and that's great, man. Then what? Well, I'm gonna buy a house on the Pacific Coast, and then what? Well, then I'm gonna watch my kids and grandkids grow up, and I'm just gonna grow old, and then what? Well, then I'm gonna die, and then what? And it's like that whole idea of just, life is short, man. And I want to live for this life, and I want to live for the next one, I
think, and I know you're here too. Like, I think I started full-time ministry when I was maybe 24 or something like that. And, how many bedsides I have watched so many people die.
Yeah.
20 years of ministry, I have held the hands of people, countless people, as they've just slipped out. I mean, from this world, I've stood by hundreds of graves. And I think for me, I probably learned that kind of early. Not that I've always been the best at it, but I've just watched, like, in closing moments, people that had, amassed some wealth and they had, seemingly a good life and everything. At the end of it, it came down to just people laying in a hospital bed with just a couple of your closest friends around you or your family.
Isn't that wild?
And I think I learned that lesson early of, my goodness, when it all comes down to it, I mean, it's relationships and I don't know. It just seems like a lot of end of life stuff will teach you, lessons about things like that.
Man, it's so amazing you covered so much ground in 3 weeks' time. I mean, it's neat the way a series works. I think this coming Sunday I'm going to be speaking. I'm going to rephrase the message I spoke in Los Angeles. I haven't had a chance to share those ideas with our church about unity, and I'm going to go much deeper. I think the church has never had a greater opportunity in every town, in every city, and throughout the world. The church could be the salt of the earth, the light of the world, the city on a hill. We've never had an opportunity to make the winning shot like we do right now. And, I'm going to be talking about, the church uniting for that. We need each other more than ever before. I think isolation has hurt us really bad. We have to find a way to come together. And then I'm going to be starting a series on foundations. And I think a lot of people, if the foundations are shaken, what will the righteous do, And I think for a lot of people, we have to, I just had this idea when I was on vacation prior to COVID. We all we relied on the church to kind of like do the whole thing for us. All we had to do is just show up on Sunday, and the church would kind of push us to the next week.
Right.
Now that all that's been shaken up, it's like people are having to actually like live their own faith, right? I mean, yeah, the church is still there. We're still online, and but there's something different happening, and I think people need to look at, what are the foundations in my life and what's important to me, my family, what kind of legacy do I want to leave? How do I want to live? Everybody's been just thrown off. It's like a compass just spinning in circles. They've lost magnetic north. And so I want to do a series to help people really be intentional to rebuild the foundations,
I love that. And I think think about it. I think that just dovetails right into the Reset series, really.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think thinking about having you come back and do one or two of those, and you could, as long as you bring me a butterscotch pie down here.
Yeah, you can do. I think I can do that. I mean, we're tight enough. I think I'll bring you one. As long as I can go to Cracker Barrel or something like that. I don't know.
Before we go, guys, I'd love to hear if you have any really cool questions for Chris. I want to kind of end this with some fun stuff. That was deeply spiritual and powerful, Chris. It is amazing, again, how much ground you covered in 3 weeks. You just covered it line upon line, precept upon precept. It's a complete thought. You can go to our YouTube channel if you're watching this right now. We are streaming live on the YouTube channel and on the Facebook. And you can go to our YouTube channel. You can go back and watch any of the services. Watch all 3 of those that Chris spoke, and just really dissect it. There's some real funny moments in the message. Chris, that's your style, and everyone loves you for it. Tell us, man. How are you doing, like with Reset? I mean, you've got a lot going on in your life. Do you feel like all those principles kind of working in your life? You feel like you're heading in the good direction? And
and I think for me, it was good for me if I just preached that to myself. It was good for me to cover those topics again, just to go through it again. And I have, every one of those things, I have work to do, with every one of those topics. So
he says,
I can't see comments. So.
Whoa, I just about fell off my chair, literally backwards on camera. Oh, that would have hurt.
That would have been good.
Chris, you didn't tell any of your fishing or hunting stories on this at all?
Like on this tonight or over the last 3 weeks? I know. I mean, but you got to consider I preached in 3 weeks what it took me 6 weeks to do. I originally took 6 weeks to do that.
You just got down to business. I got you. You just had to get down to business.
Things, man. I had to trim it down and all that. So, I don't know. There's a lot to put in there.
Now, life in West Virginia with you is really fun. We rode our motorcycle out one day and did the potato harvest with your family. Did you guys do that this year?
Yeah, my dad actually, we built this winter. My dad mainly built it with his own 2 hands. I helped out a couple of days, but we built this thing called a high tunnel. Essentially, it's a big greenhouse, 72 feet long, 35 feet wide. What? And he's growing tomatoes and different vegetables and 2 other gardens. So yeah, we'll be deep in that. Yeah, we'll be deep. You have to come see it. I'd like to show it to you. It's really an amazing thing.
Man, I'll come tomorrow. No, I can't come tomorrow. But for everybody who's watching, this is such a cool thing that Chris's family does. And now your mom, she came to church, and who else came? You had a bunch of your family.
Had my Aunt Sandra was there. My cousin Sabrina and her husband.
I love your family.
We had, oh my goodness, there were some folks that came from Moorfield every week, and I don't know, it was great. It was great looking back at those familiar faces that I've grown to love over 20 years, and of course I got to introduce my kids, Carson growing like a weed, and then my 3 bonus daughters, and then Charlotte, and they had a great time. They loved the church, man.
Karen says your sister.
Oh no, yeah, I was saving my sister for last because I just wanted to say something about Virginia and how supportive she's been, and how I don't know how I would do life without her. Absolutely. And she was there, and my niece Emma. But yeah, she's so supportive. My sister would take a bullet for me. And
you guys ice fish on the river out there across from your parents' also.
Yeah, we do. When we get a good winter where it freezes, we do that. I'm on my deck right now, and there was some gunfire here right before you came on. We don't get worried about that in West Virginia. It's just somebody shooting a groundhog or something like that. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, we do a lot of fun stuff up here in the hills.
Man, that's great, buddy. I was thinking, I was joking around with you, no disrespect, but you were introducing your daughters in church, and I sent you a text and said, next Sunday, that church is going to be packed out with teenage boys.
Oh yeah, I mean, the thing about my bonus daughters are they're beautiful like their mama. Oh, they're beautiful like their mama, but I wanted to make that clear. They're not available. They're still not available. And now Carson says he is. Carson says I'm available, Dad. So so Carson's available. The 3 bonus daughters are not, though. But yeah, when you said that, I was like, I was laughing big time, because I was like, yeah, the young men are going to turn out in force.
That's so funny. It's so funny how that works in church, man.
Yeah.
Wow, Chris, this is great. It's been a blessing. And Karen, we're going to make it up. We're going to come back tomorrow night. We're going to have a Karen night. We're going to talk about Karen. Get Chris.
Karen is amazing. Oh my goodness. She's my older sister. She's so amazing. I've looked up to her for years.
Hey guys, thanks so much. I apologize in the beginning. I'm a little rusty. I don't think I've done a live in well over a month. My skills were just so bad. I normally like to interact a whole lot more. I can see Eric was on here from Cincinnati. Let's see. Jesse wants to know, you guys have that new Ford Bronco in stock. That thing, when's that?
Let me jump in. You can go to the Ford website and you can pre-order. Make sure you put in Weimer Automotive in Moorfield, West Virginia. You can pre-order one. You can get on the list for the new Bronco that's coming out.
Man, my daughter, I think, went online and put down a $100 deposit yesterday. So I'll tell her to cancel that. And
get it to our store. Best Buy.
You look at those things, man, they give you chills, don't they?
They do. They honestly do.
Big tires on it. What is it? The final one. What's it called? It's called the, I don't know.
Let's see. I'm a GM guy, so I'm not as well versed on the Bronco, but they got several trim levels, man. They are sweet. You can remove the doors. It's going to be a sweet ride.
Yeah. Okay, buddy. Hey, would you just say a prayer for everybody in this audience? There's so many people from our church and from your community that are on here tonight, and maybe there's people out here just really, maybe they heard the messages or they didn't, and they just need a reset in life, and you just laid it out, man. So pray us through that.
All right. Father, we thank you for this time. I feel like it's been really productive that we've been online, and we just pray for all those hurting. A confusing time we're in. There's no doubt about it. We admit that. So confusing right now. So we just pray that you would help bring clarity to situations, calm hearts and minds, business leaders out there that are fearful for the future. We just pray for them and pray that they would have wisdom to lead with excellence during this time, and church leaders and pastors and those that are dealing with, what do I do with my scars? I pray that you would help use that, show them that the greatest power can come from their greatest place of pain. And just pray that something we've said tonight's been, good, productive for people that are listening. And thank you that when we don't have all the answers, we know you do, and we can rest in that. And so we give you glory in your name. Amen.
Yeah. I wanted to shout out my friend Doug Morneau. He's from Vancouver, BC. One of the most successful guys I've ever met in my life. He's just such a champion, such a hero. He was on here in the early part of this. Hopefully he's still on there. Doug, if you're still out there, maybe you can just make a comment, be like, hey, I'm still here. Otherwise, at least my conscience is clear now because I shouted you out. Chris, I hope you have a great night. Are you going to go cannonball into that pool behind you, or have you already eaten dinner?
Yeah, man, I had a long day at work. I'm going to go in here and probably watch some Family Feud with my gorgeous wife, put my feet up a little bit.
I love your family TV schedule that you were sharing with me a couple of months ago. That's awesome. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for joining tonight. Man, I feel like I got my groove back on, and we'll start doing some more of these lives if you guys are interested in that. We'll talk to you soon. God bless. And if you're in the area, come join us on Sunday at Destiny Family Center. See you, everyone. Chris, stay here, and we'll chat for 1 sec.